In this video, we're going to break down a complete step-by-step guide on how to get your real estate license in the state of California. We're also going to dive into some things to avoid when picking your first brokerage. And then we're going to tell you about some of the costs associated with getting your real estate license in the state of California. That way you know exactly how much money you need to budget to get started. Let's dive right into the video. My name is Chris with the Empire of Real Estate YouTube channel. On this channel, we talk about real estate, personal finance, and entrepreneurship. Before we get started, I want to offer you our free How to Get Your Real Estate License and Get Started in Your Real Estate Career Guide. And basically everything in this video will be in that guide, plus a little bit more. So if you want to grab your copy, click the link down below and check it out. Let's dive right into it. So the very first step to getting your California real estate license is meeting a couple basic requirements. The very first thing is you have to be 18 years old or older, and you have to have a high school diploma or a GED. No college is actually required. Next, you have to get a background check done. Now, basically, they're going to be looking for a couple things. They want to make sure you don't have anything on your record that would prevent you from getting your real estate license in the state of California. Lastly, you have to be a legal resident of the United States. The next step is completing your pre-license education. So to get your real estate license, you have to go back to school. Now, this is real estate school and you have to go to a state-approved real estate school. Every state has different requirements. In the state of California, you're required to take 135 hours of state-approved real estate classes. Now, you might think that's a lot, and it actually is quite a bit. It's going to take some time and some commitment, and you might be saying, how am I going to manage this while I have a 9-to-5 job or just a very busy schedule? Well, the good news is we actually found a school that we highly recommend. It's called Real Estate Express, and they offer these classes online. So you can do them at your own convenience, whether you have a 9-to-5 job or your schedule is just crazy busy. So if you want to check them out, they oftentimes have some sales going on, and they are in the description below. So check out that link. It's an affiliate link, and we definitely suggest them because they do a really good job, and you could use that at the convenience of your own schedule. Once you have completed the 135 hours of state-approved pre-license education and you're ready to take the exam, it's time to schedule. And you schedule this with Pearson VUE in the state of California. And then once test day comes, you're going to want to bring a couple basic things. The first thing is 2 forms of identification. The next thing is a basic non-scientific calculator, so you can have that for the math portion of the exam. Keep in mind, this is not an open book test, so you're going to need to really know your stuff to be able to pass this. So next, I want to give you a couple tips on how to actually pass the exam. In California, the national portion of the exam is about 100 questions and the state portion is about 45 questions. They are multiple choice. So what I would suggest is make sure you read them a couple different times before you actually submit your answer. And then if you really don't know, you might want to skip it and then come back to it at the end of the exam when you're less stressed and you're in a better place mentally and you're thinking a lot more clearly. So that's one tip. And then another tip is if you just don't know, you might want to eliminate some of the answers that are completely wrong and you know are wrong, and then choose from the ones that you think could be right. The next tip is don't rush through the exam. The exam is 4 hours. You have 4 hours to answer 145 multiple choice questions. Think about that. Most people actually finish the exam early, and this is why some people fail, because they rush through it, they get nervous, they don't think the questions through, and they may have actually passed, but they didn't give themselves a fair chance at passing because they rushed through it due to being nervous and running out of time. Most people finish this early, and you have 4 hours to complete it. So keep that in mind and make sure you really digest the questions that are being asked. Once you pass the exam, it's time to celebrate a little bit. This is a big deal. And if you didn't pass the exam, don't worry, because you can go back and retake the exam. You have to pay a small fee to do that, but it's worth it. Most people fail the exam. Some of the best agents in your market and some of the best agents in the country failed the exam the first time around. Just because you fail doesn't mean you're bad at real estate. Now, if you can avoid failing, that's a great thing. But if you do fail, it's not a big deal. Next, you want to find your sponsoring broker. So once you pass your exam, you want to find your sponsoring broker that you're going to hang your license with. Now, a lot of agents think this is a simple step. They already took all their pre-license classes, they got their background checks, they passed their exam, they did all this stuff. Now, this is the easy, fun part, but this is the most important part in a lot of situations because picking the right brokerage with the right mentors can make all the difference between failure and success. If you didn't know, this industry has a 87% failure rate. And if you want to avoid those bad numbers, it's best to pick a brokerage that's going to have support, training, and mentorship in place to give you the best opportunity at success. So I want to offer you a couple quick tips I wish I knew when I was first starting out. The very first thing is pick a brokerage that has a mentor in place. And when I say a mentor in place, I mean someone that's available. You want to ask questions like, hey, when can I call this mentor? What hours are actually off limits? And you want to kind of feel it out and see how much access you're going to be able to have with that mentor, because your first 3 to 5 deals might be really confusing. There's a lot of things you're going to have to learn, and picking up the phone and saying, hey, I need help with something is a big deal. So having a support system in place can make a huge difference. The next thing you want is a training program to kind of pair with your mentor. So when you're not dealing with your mentor, because they're probably out selling real estate, they're probably a successful agent, and they don't have time to sit with you all day, unfortunately. But you want to ask if they have a training program in place, whether that's weekly classes or training modules, something you can plug into, educate yourself, and make this learning process go a lot quicker. The next question to ask is, how am I going to generate business? This is the main question that so many agents have, and you want to discuss this up front. Because most brokerages are going to tell you to talk to your friends and family. This is called sphere of influence marketing in the world of real estate. And some people just don't have the network to build a big business by doing that. Some people do. I know people that have built multiple 6-figure businesses just from their sphere of influence. But when I started, I knew that wasn't going to be the case. I was only 22 and I had a big hill to climb. So I had to learn sales, I had to learn marketing, I had to learn how to get on the phone and generate business. So the point of this conversation is you want to have the conversation up front with the broker and ask them how they're going to teach you how to generate business, because you want a brokerage that's going to align with the way you want to generate business and how you want to grow your personal business. Last but not least, don't get fascinated with splits, because 100% of nothing is still nothing. And I can say this from a place of being there because I did the same thing. I made the same mistake. Luckily, it worked out because I picked a brokerage that had a good mentor in place. He was just starting his company and he was one of the top agents in town, and he was able to give me his time. But if it was at a different time in his career, things may not have worked out that way. So picking a brokerage that has good support, good training is the most important thing. And then if you get a good split with that, that's even better. But if you get a lower split, just look at it as the cost of doing business, and you're basically paying for mentorship. So it's totally okay. Later down the line, once you're a successful agent, you're doing really well, then you might want to renegotiate splits or look at different options. Once you find a sponsoring broker, it's time to take everything that you did up until this point and submit your application to get your license. So this is going to be your pre-license education certificate from your real estate school. This is going to be your background check. This is going to be your past exam. This is going to be proof that you found a brokerage to work with. And then you want to apply for your real estate license. Then you're going to wait to hear back. Before you know it, you're going to have your real estate license in hand. Next, I want to go over some really important things when it comes down to the pricing, because I know everybody's curious how much it actually costs to get their real estate license and how much they're actually going to have to budget to get this thing done. So let's dive into some of the costs that you're going to face when getting your real estate license. The very first one is your real estate pre-license classes. In California, I would budget around $300 to $700 to get this done. It all depends on what sales are going on at the current moment, but I would budget $300 to $700 to get into a really good school that's going to teach you all the things you need to know to be able to pass your exam. Next, you want to budget for your background check. I would budget around $40 to $50 to get this done. Along with that background check, you're going to have to get your fingerprinting done, and that's going to cost about $49. Once that's all done, you're going to have some exam fees. So to take your exam, it's actually broken into 2 pieces. So you're going to have the national portion and then the salesperson exam that you're going to have to take for California. Now, it's $120 in total, but it's $60 for each exam. Once you pass that, you're going to have to submit your license application fee, which is about $245. Once that's all done, you've kind of completed the process. The only other thing that you're going to face is basic things like E&O insurance, which every brokerage is a little different, but I would budget between $200 and $500 per year for that. So all in all, you can get started in a career that can be, a complete game changer, and it can change your life, and you can also change the lives of many people that you work with that become your clients for, under $1,000. So it might cost you a little over that, but I would say a safe bet is under $1,500, and you can get into a really lucrative, rewarding career. So if you're going to get your real estate license this year, definitely drop it in the comment section down below. And if you have questions about getting your license, I would love to hear them, and I'd love to try to help you out. So drop that in the comment section below as well, and you have an awesome day.